everyone, it's Amy and welcome back for our next video in Journaling on a Budget, Memory Lane. And so today we've drawn up a sketch map, and then we made a map on regular paper. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to work with these first two sections, which will be these first two sections on my map. And I'm going to work on the downtown area here. So, and then I think maybe once we get the downtown area done, then maybe next week we'll start with doing the pages for that and then move on. I haven't exactly decided yet whether we'll do the whole map or do some of the map and then work on the pages. We'll kind of figure it out as we go. So, what we have here is in the first two sections of our map, we have the downtown with a candy store, a seamstress, a toy store, an art store, and a hardware store. And I've decided to flip the hardware and the toy store around. But so I need 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 5 downtown buildings. And so I'm going to set that right there. I'm going to just measure and see how much space I have to make those buildings. So let's see, we do also have to have an area here for the edge of the gas station, so we need to come over somewhat. Let's say maybe around there. That's about 8.5 inches. If we take off a little bit to just leave a half an inch from the corner, so let's say 8 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, we need 5 buildings. So 5 goes into 8. If we do it 1.5 inches, that would be 7.5 inches. And I think that that would probably be pretty good. So I'm going to make my buildings. And I could make them 1.5, and I could make one of them 2 inches. And you know, we do have a little room to play with, so we'll just kind of work on it. So what I'm going to do is I went ahead and I just glued one piece of fun foam right to a piece of cardboard. And so I'm going to, so that we can make some stamps. I don't really want to draw them on there. I thought stamping them would be a lot more fun and also look more whimsical with the way that we can do our little stamps, plus the fact of I'm just not very good at drawing. I'm just going to cut this cardboard off because I don't really want any cardboard sticking out. Okay, so, and I have 2 of them if we need more. And so what I did was I pulled out, these are my wonky houses that we did in the Build Your Stash and Craft series. And these are just their roofs, and that's a tree, some grass. There's the bottom of a building, another roof, or even it could be made into a doghouse depending on the size of your project. We have doors and we have windows and just all sorts of things that we have here. So I pulled this out, and what I found was, a second, I really kind of liked these with like just a little tiny bit of shape to them. But because it's a downtown, I want my buildings to fit next to each other. And when I cut these, you know, I just cut them all by themselves. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my buildings with the shapes so that they fit next to each other when I go to stamp them on. I'm also going to stamp onto a regular sheet of paper, and then I think I'm going to cut it out and paste it on here. I may stamp it on a regular piece of paper and then stamp it on here. I haven't decided that yet either. I'm just afraid of messing up my map. Not so much in the beginning, but once I get towards the end, you know, that's even more that if I mess it up, you can always cover it up though. All right, so what do we have here? We have not quite a long enough piece, so we'll need to use a little of the other one also. But I want to say, I'm just going to put that on there, put a mark at about, let's go with 1.5 inches. That's, I cut that very crooked, or I glued it on there very crooked. I think I'm going to cut it straight so that we fit down along the road fairly straight. Just going to put a line on here. Shouldn't be doing that on top of my thing. I don't want to get marks on it. Cut a nice straight line. There we go. That's better. All right, so let's put a mark at 1.5 inches. It doesn't really matter where you go from. Okay, so right from the edge, 1.5 inches is here. Oh, I think that's plenty wide enough. So then we're going to put one at 3, one at, let's see, well, let's do one. Let's do one at 4 1/4. So that they're not all exactly the same size. And then we'll do the next one at 5 1/2. So that one will be a little bit bigger. So that'll give us 1, 2, 3. That'll give us 4 of our 5 stores. And then hubby's home, so I'll be right back. The dogs will start barking. Sorry about that. Okay, I'm back. So we've marked out some different lengths to make our buildings. And so I'm just going to start. And the only reason I kind of measured was just to make sure that they would fit when I was done. So I'm going to just kind of give it a bit of an angle. And then I'm going to go right straight off the top because I'm not sure exactly how tall I want them yet. So then I'll just take this one and I'm going to kind of match up the shape of that. And there is our first building right there. This is going to be our second building. And they're not going to be that tall. That's why once I get partway up there, I'm just cutting off the end. And then this one's going to fit here. And we need one more building. So we've got all of these that are going to be able to be stamped together like this. So the question is, do I want this line between these two buildings to be straight, like that, or do I want it to kind of have an angle to it? And I think I do want it to have an angle. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to cut that one. And then I'm just going to set it right on top of here, just barely on the edge. And then just draw a line so that they'll, whoops, see, I got a mark on my paper. I shouldn't be drawing on the paper. So hopefully they'll meet up pretty well together. And there we go, they do. Okay, so there's our buildings. We just need to put these here. And then this one's going to go here. And that one is the toy store. So we're going to have the toy store maybe be just a little bit bigger. Give it a little extra whimsy there. Okay, these are not fitting together really well. I think I need to kind of Okay, that fits pretty well to there, and they're not going to be that tall, so we're good. All right, so now what we have to decide is how tall do we want our buildings? This is our road right here. So let's see, the first one is the candy store. Then we've got the seamstress. So we'll make the candy store a taller building. Look and see, there's nothing between our buildings and the road over here. So, or maybe we'll be parking our train in that area, depending on how long it is. So I can have it pretty much as tall as I want it, so it doesn't cover this road right here. So let's see. Let's make our first one tall. And just set those aside because we can use those for other things. So, and then let's make our next one. That's the seamstress, so let's make hers a little shorter. Then we have the hardware store, so we'll make that one taller. How tall do we want it? Taller than the first one? No, we'll make it a little shorter than the first one. And then we have our art store. So make that even a little shorter than that, but taller than the toys or the seamstress. And then this one fits together really nicely. Right to, well, that one's going to cut off right there. So let's make the toy store pretty tall. All right, so now we're just going to cut those off. And then we have to decide, do we want to draw our windows right on the building? Because we can do that, or we can make little squares and then stamp them on there. So we can just take our pen, and on our buildings, we can just draw our windows. And then once you get them drawn, color them down like this so that they won't wait a minute, am I doing it? Yes, if you're going to do it on here, then we're going to make these little windows like this, and we're going to push them down. This is if we put them right on our building, because that way when we stamped our building, you'd see everything but the windows. The windows would be clear. So you would do it like this. And I'm doing this to show you because I don't think I'm going to do mine this way. I think I want to stamp my windows on. Not sure yet positively, but. Okay, so you would do this on all of your buildings. Let's just put one more in there because then I can always use this as some kind of a stamp. So, you know, when you look at the big high-rise buildings, they have like apartments or businesses or something upstairs. And they have all the little windows. So that's what we're doing here. So if this was your whole building and you had your windows till you get down to your doors, and then you could just stamp it like that. Now I'm gonna get some just regular paper here, and we're gonna put these, I'm gonna number these on the back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, then I'll remember what way they go back on here, and I'm going to move the map, because for now we're going to try stamping them on a separate piece of paper and maybe cutting them out. And I don't want to get stuff all over that map. All right, so here's a little piece of paper that we can use as a sampling paper. And I'll just show you how if you had done your building this way, just put your ink on there, and then you would stamp your building. Don't push real hard because you don't want to push those windows through, because they probably do have some ink on them. Missed a little spot right there. And so you can, do a few things. You can try and kind of line it back up and give it a press there. That worked. So see, then your building, of course, your building would be tall, and it would have your windows all the way up your building. And then for your doors, then you would just stamp, you'd cut yourself a little door. And then you could just stamp that little door right on there. Just like that. And then, of course, we need some windows. I'm just going to cut this a little bit shorter. We'll make the windows blue just because we can. Those are like the big picture windows that they have on the store. See? And then again, your building would be really tall. So, just something for you to think about as you're thinking about how you want to do your buildings. I can't find the lid to my purple. Here it is. Okay. So now we have our buildings, and in looking at this, I'm looking at this. Do I want the white windows showing up in the background? That's what's going to happen if I color them in. Or do I want the windows just to be colored? Because you're not going to be able to match your color up in exactly the same spot as your holes. So if you want it to be colored, then you want to stamp onto it. And I think I do want to stamp my windows on there. So we'll just make a little stamp. These are our buildings. You need to make sure that if you're doing something like working on doors, windows, whatever, put your buildings aside so that you don't accidentally cut them up. Of course, if you did, you can always make another one. All right, so in order to make some windows, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of make a mark every, these are centimeters, so every half a centimeter I'm making a mark. And then I'm just going to cut it like this. Hopefully pretty straight, but again, these are wonky buildings, so they don't have to be perfect. It's supposed to be a little whimsical. I just want it to be fairly close. My other dot's right there, so I'm going to come this way because it's too close for me to hold it and cut it at the same time. There. Alrighty, so now we've got that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go this way. And again, I'll just mark it every half a centimeter. And that way we're going to wind up with a whole bunch of little squares. So just cut right straight across there. Let's see, look at all the little squares we have to glue onto a piece of paper. Or a piece of cardboard, actually. We don't want to glue them on paper. There we go. That'll be enough. Oh. Okay. That one is not cut all the way through. I need to stop trying to pull it apart because I'm going to put dents and stuff in it. There we go. And so then we're just going to take a piece of cardboard. Like this, and then we're just going to line them up on here, glue them on, so that we will have our windows for our buildings. Now, here's the thing. The buildings are different sizes. So I just kind of want to look. 4 windows will fit on that one nicely. 4 windows would be pretty tight, but 3 windows would be okay. 3 windows would be good. 4 windows would fit. And even on that one, it could use 5 windows, but 4 windows would work. Let's check it from the bottom. 4 windows would be. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 4 windows, because 4 windows will fit on all of them. Oh, wait a minute. Did we have to have 3? That's okay. We're doing 4, because we have some that we want to be 4. So I'm going to glue like 3 rows of 4 windows on here. I'm going to line them up as best as I can, put my glue on there, and then set them aside to sit. But then when we go to stamp our paper on the skinny buildings that don't fit 4 windows, we only put our ink on 3 windows. So it doesn't matter. And do I want to do 5 windows? Maybe I will do 5 windows. I'm going to do 5. I've got enough to do 5. That way, if I decide I want 5 to go across here, I'll have it there and I won't have to try and line up that last one. So, because it's not hard to only ink what you want to use and leave the rest without ink on it. So I am going to make 3 rows of windows. Maybe I'll get another piece of cardboard and maybe I'll actually make 4 or 5 rows. 2, 3, 4 rows. I think 4 rows will do it. That will give me windows down to about here, and that will give me area here to put my picture windows, my walk-in doors, and that type of thing. So I am going to glue these on, sit them under something, and let them dry for just a little bit. And I will be back. And that is what it's going to look like, except it's going to have rows of windows. So I'll be back in just a bit. Okay, I am back, and I have glued all the little windows to a piece of cardboard. I spaced them apart pretty equally. They're not perfectly straight or anything, just close. And then I put a handle on the back because it's really nice, because these are so tiny. You know, your foam is thin, your cardboard is thin. To try and like get them on the ink pad without getting ink all over your fingers and then putting them on, it's hard to do. So if you put a handle on the back, that makes it so easy. And I put a handle on the back of all of the buildings. I'm going to show you how to do it just in case you've not seen me do it before. Any kind of tape. I like masking tape just because you can see it and everything. But just take a piece of tape, and then what you want to do is you want to just kind of fold it in half, but hold a little wing out on each side, just like that. Hold those wings out there. Squish that together. Take those wings, put them right on your piece of cardboard, and there you go. Now you've got a handle. Nice thing about that is too, it'll fold down if you want to put them like in a file folder or something to hold them, so it's not in your way. The other thing is, I wasn't thinking, these are stamps. Remember, stamps are reversed. So I started with 1 here, 5 over here. Well, when you turn them over to stamp them, because we're going to make them fit next to each other, they go the opposite way. Not a big deal. We're going to just do it that way. So, but if you want it to be specifically, you know, like if I wanted this one to be the hardware and to be on that end, then I would have had to make sure that I reversed it when I was drawing them or cutting them out. And so then I went through and I just picked some little doors and windows and a little chimney and stuff. I cut a piece of paper that I know will fit where we want our downtown to be. So I know that I wanted to have some space left up here. And so that right there, if I make sure I stay within this piece of paper, then we'll have a little bit of room between here and the road that's up there. So this is going to be, it might be just a touch long, but our buildings are touching. So that's not really going to make any difference because our buildings are only going to be that long no matter what. And now, this is just like trial and error. Play with it. You know, you can just grab a piece of paper, do a bunch of stamping, see which ones you like the best, or you can do the whole town and then see if you like it, do another town and see what you think of that. So, but here is just, this is a piece that was left over from when we were cutting the little squares, and so I just cut it in the shape of a little door, and I thought that that might be cute, a double door. And so I colored in the windows, put a little doorknob on by just pressing just the point of the pen in there, and put a line, heavy line down the middle so that it would be separated. And then again, these are just some doors from my actual set that I already have. Now this is a little teeny tiny one that does not have it doesn't have a handle on it, and so I thought I would just show you. Do it exactly the same way. I got a really small piece of tape here. I did not need to do that because now I have a very small handle, but just take it. You can put it on there either way, the long way or the either way you want to do it. I'm going to go sideways like this, but look, it's way too big. You just fold your handle down. So just press your handle down also. We've got our handle here, but once we're stuck on the back, fold the handle down, then just turn it over and trim the whole thing off. You fold the handle down because that way the handle gets trimmed also, and so that it doesn't, if you left that handle wider and then you folded it down at some point, it would get ink on it. So just go ahead and fold it down and trim it, and then now it's within the width of whatever it is that you're putting it on. But now we have a nice little handle on this little stamp. So, and then I even have, like, this is a little flower pot. There's another flower pot. And this is on cardboard, just regular corrugated cardboard, which I do not like for small things. It doesn't work as well. And I have some of them. This one too is on corrugated cardboard. I have some of them that are on what do you call it, foam core board. That just makes them a little thicker, but really doesn't make much of a difference. But if you don't put a handle on it, it makes it easier to get a hold of without getting ink on your paper. I would still suggest putting a handle. We got a little bit of decorative things here that we might be able to use. A chimney, a smaller flower pot. I even have a big window because I thought maybe we would put a penthouse on top of one of the buildings. I have a roof because I think it might fit on the short one there, and that might be kind of cute. That's the art store now that we're going that way. So I thought that that might be kind of cute having that on there. So we're just going to play. We're going to see how it all turns out. So the first thing is, do we want all the buildings to be like brown and gray, or, what colors do we want them to be? And because it's going to be whimsical, but we are also going to have like windows and doors that are going to be colored, let's do a lighter color, a lighter color for the buildings, and then a darker color for all of the add-ons. That way, I'm just going to put this down here. That way we'll know that the windows and the doors and everything will show up. I'm just going to pat my ink on here, choosing blue ink on blue foam. Was not the smartest thing to do. I should have maybe used pink or something on this one. But I'm just going to, now that I've kind of know that I've got the ink on there, I'm just going to kind of rub it across to smooth it out a bit. If you want your buildings to have bricks or something like that, you can draw them right on there. If you're going to draw on bricks, you have to remember that when you do your windows, it'll kind of be, you'll see that through, you'll see the lines of the brick. Now, the only thing I want to do, oh yeah, I want to line it up at the bottom. Did that fit? Yeah. So I just want to line it up at the bottom, and that's my only requirement, because that way we can fit them all next to each other and they'll all be level across the road. You won't have one building up here and one building down there. So I'm just going to give that a press, give that ink. I'm not pressing really hard, and especially on things where you have drawn into them, don't press really hard because you don't want to push where you've drawn down onto your paper. What you really want to do is just make sure that your paper touches everywhere. So your stamp touches everywhere on your paper. So you're just going to kind of like massage it across the whole thing. And so there we go with building number 1. Let's see what it looks like. And there it is. Okay, that looks okay because it's very light, but again, we're going to be adding our windows and everything. So let's do the next one, pink. Get the ink on there. And of course, the more ink you put on, the darker it will be. by padding it like this with such a small pad, you will wind up with lines where the edges of your pad hit it if you just do it like that. So you kind of want to at least kind of smooth it out just a little bit, even if you're just like when you're padding it, kind of rubbing it at the same time, so that you don't wind up with this really harsh line. Now I want to line this one up with the bottom, and I want to line it up with the edge of this building, because we cut them to fit right next to each other. So just put that one on there and give that a little bit of a massage everywhere. And see how that one's going to look. There's number 2. Doesn't look like a downtown yet, but it's going to get there. Let's do orange for the next one. Orange on orange. Going to be easy to see. Haha. This is a very, very juicy pad. Spread that ink around. And I can see that it's kind of splotchy. Now I could make it super, super smooth, or I can just kind of leave it. It'll give it a little bit of texture and definition on this stamp. So we're going to leave this one that way. And again, line it up at the bottom and line it up with the building next door. Just going to start at this corner here and just kind of make sure it's close. If your buildings overlap a little bit, that's okay. It's not going to make a difference. It'll just show, like here I can see a tiny bit of white, here I can see kind of purple because they overlapped there. It doesn't, this is, you know, that's why the whole thing is just going to be a pretty wonky town. And there we go with our orange, and then see how, because of the way that that was darker and lighter, we even have a spot where I missed, but that's just kind of give it a little bit of extra texture there. So that's 1, 2, 3. Oh. That one goes over there. There's 4, 5, 3. This is number 2. Yes. All right, so what color do we want there? Let's do green. We'll do this one green. And I'm going to set it down there for just a second, cover this one up. And remember to cover up your inks because you don't want them, that's the green, you don't want them to get dried out. Oh, it's just as easy to handle it. Hang on to it since I have a handle on it. Let it get a little bit muted, or modelly, or whatever you want to call that, not muted. Get out those stark lines. Oop, there's, just put a line in it. There we go. Line it up again, kind of start in this corner. Once you set it down, just leave it, because if you move it, you're going to smear it. So it's better having it right there, even if it's a little off or something, than to have a big smear. So there is our 4th building, and we only have 1 to go. There we go. Now see, we're not quite touching the road. We're off a little bit right there, but that's okay. Nothing has to be totally perfect. And let's go with this turquoise for the final one. Get it covered, and then kind of spread it around a little bit. And if you have bigger pads, you know, you won't have the lines from the edges of your little pads. It just depends on what you have, but it's never a big deal. If you don't have ink pads at all, if you have kids' washable markers, you can color on it with the washable marker, breathe on it like that, which will dampen it because it takes a while to get it all colored, and then stamp with it. That was a suggestion one of my subscribers gave me, to breathe on it like that, and boy does that make a difference. So there is our 5th building. And if I get it how I like it, then yay. What I will do is, when I'm all done, cut it all out and glue it on my page. That's what I think I'm going to do so far. I can always get it how I like it and then stamp it on my page too. It's all just a matter of preference. Now I thought this one would look cute with a little roof on it. And it's sticking up a little bit over the top, but that's okay. And let's make that roof red. Red. What do we want? Red and green. That's the art store. Yeah, it can be red and green. It's not really Christmas green. And this one was blue before, so I'm going to guess that my red's going to kind of come out a little bit purpley. I'm going to put it a little bit like over the top of my building. I'm going to bring it down so that the top of my building is up here, but I brought this down just a little bit. Give that a press. And this is one that is the corrugated cardboard, and the corrugation is going that way. So I'm afraid that these little spots here are not touching, so I'm going to really press down on those because there's no pressure there because the corrugation got cut off right before you got to them. So there's like no real pressure. So really corrugated cardboard is not the best for these. You know, the corrugated cardboard with the little holes in it. And there we go. So that building has a little roof on it. Okay, now let's see. What do we want to do next? Let's give this building some windows. Now that's the widest building, so we'll do the windows on that one last. Alrighty, so I have cut the windows exactly along the edges this way so that I know where the windows are when I go to line it up on here. So 4 is too wide for this, so I'm only going to do 3. And I think I am going to go all the way to the top of the building. You have to leave a little bit of building top, you know, for your windows. All right, so I'm going to do 3 wide. So I just won't put any ink on these ones over here. And let's do those windows purple. Let's use this color purple. Again, we're just going to rub it on there. Or pat it however you want to, just making sure you don't get any on this other row. Okay, I did get a little bit right there, so I'm going to wipe that off. Now I'm knowing that my windows are there. I just kind of line this up. I'm not sure. I think I might have my windows way over there, but we'll find out. Ooh, not bad at all. And see, now look at that. Looks much more like a downtown building. So let's put some windows on here. So how many do we want? We want 3 windows by 3. And you can just kind of take this and slide it down like this to make sure that it's going to, that those 3 windows are going to fit. Yeah, let's do 3 by 3, and I want to do them the same color. But what I want to do is, I don't want this to get on there, so you can wipe them off with a damp paper towel, just barely damp, not wet. Or you can, and I'm going to show you how to do this, put a piece of paper over them to make sure that they do not get ink on your page. So we're just going to go 3 by 3. And we're going to give it the same color windows. Maybe we'll do the same color windows all the way across. Okay. Now, these windows were the ones that I had ink on, and there might still be a little bit of ink on there. So I'm just going to take a piece of paper and just hold it on there because I don't want to get that ink on my paper. That also lets me know that's where the top of my windows are. See, that's going to be the top of these windows. So I can just press that on there. I think I got them a little low. Yep, a little low, but it isn't going to hurt anything. we're just going to have a small door on that building. And then let's put some windows on here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do 4 windows on this one, just to kind of make them all different. Okay, so I know that this is where my windows stop. There we go. Okay, now let's see. This one, because I'm still thinking about those two right this second. So this one right here could have that's a little double door. But see, this will mark up my window, so we can't use that on there. I was thinking maybe this one needs a little chimney. So let's do that chimney in gray. We'll do it in gray. Make sure that we get it covered. We want it right on the corner. Let's put it just offset towards this corner. Give it a press. I'm not pressing too hard, but it's another piece of corrugated, so there we go. That one's got a little chimney on it. That one could have a flower box on top, or this one could have a flower box on top. We could put the flower box on top and then put a few little flowers on top of this building. So let's do that. And this one does not have a handle. I want a handle because it's so small. Okay, and we'll do the flower box in it's a pink building. We'll just do a red flower box. Right in the middle, kind of. Give it a bit of a press. Here we go. Now another little chimney on here, but we don't want the same chimney if we don't have to. I think that's the only chimney I have because it was the only small one. So, you know, this piece right here is a piece I cut off of something. It's even got a little piece of, this was in the garbage over here. Turn that over. Put this little piece of tape on there to give it a handle. All right. Now, how tall? I'm trying to think if I want this big part. It's going to go like this. I think we're going to go with the whole thing, and then we'll decide. So let's put some bricks on it, or we could just make it striped. It doesn't have to have bricks. Just kind of offset some lines to make it bricks. Just like that. I'm going to cut off this bottom piece. I still have masking tape all over my scissors. And then I think we'll put it over to that side over there. And we'll do it in whatever color this is. Looks like it's red. And just going off the top, that's okay. We're still going to have a little something there. There we go. There's our chimney for that building. Kind of thinking, I don't like that 100%. So what if I maybe just, say it was this one, right? I can always just cut it off when I'm cutting this up. I'm thinking maybe if I just put some next to it. Yeah, I'm going to go all the way across. There, so that building kind of has a roof on it. It's a little bit red right there, or I mean a little bit too much white right there, so just press in a little bit of red. It covered up that big white line that was there. Now, this one goes like this, which I really like, and this one doesn't, but when I cut it out, I can cut it out with a little bit of a swoosh like that. So, you kind of get the gist of what we're doing here, and, you know, it does take a while to get it all done, so I think I probably should maybe stop here and finish it off. We're going to put these doors on this building right here. And then it'll need a window on each side, but a little bit of a bigger square window. Not this big, that's too big. Is this a window? That's a flower pot. That's a chimney. That's a flower pot. This is a piece of cardboard that's nothing, and it's going to turn into the window that we put on here. There we go. Those are cute little doors. And what that was a piece that was like long and kind of went like this, and I just folded it down in half and taped it together and made it into a door. So all of your little scraps that you have, even like this little teeny tiny scrap right here, you can use that for something. You know, you could use it even to put up here as decoration, you know, next to this or something like that. So we need a couple of windows here. We're just going to cut a window out of this. It's already got a cut in it right here, so I'm going to cut it right there. Set that aside because we might be able to use it for something. All right, so that looks pretty good if I cut it right there. And there. Put one on each side of the door, but maybe make it just a little skinnier because there's not quite enough room over there. Put a handle on it. Trim it down, and you know, like store windows are usually big, you know, like just big stained glass, or not stained glass, just big plate glass windows. So they usually, a lot of times, they don't have any lines or anything in them. So we're going to leave this one just plain. I'm going to do it with this purple. And we were doing them up and down. Put that one there. And that one there. And there we go. Now that building is done. Now the thing is, you can go in with a black marker and you can draw around the windows, or a white marker. You know, you can put little dots where the handles are. Excuse me. Put little signs on them. Let's see, what is this one? That's the art store. So maybe put a little sign here that says art or something like that. Put little banners or something on them. I'm going to go through and I'm going to play around, and I'm going to finish the town, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like, because we've been playing with this now for almost a half an hour. So it takes a while to get it to where you want it. And that's the thing, it's not about the rush, it's about having fun. And I love doing these because they are so fun to play with. So I will be back and show you what it's like when it's all done. Okay, I am back, and I have finished everything, and I drew around parts of it with just a plain old black Sharpie marker. And I just thought I'd show you, because when you look at this, looks cuter than this. So, just kind of showing how it looks when you cut it out, from that paper, and then it just like gives it like a whole new look by doing that. And so I just kind of wanted to, as I was cutting it out, I just noticed it's like, oh, I really like this, and that kind of looks like, I don't know what it is, but it's just, the cutting it out makes it just look so much better, even though we're just going to go ahead and put it back on a piece of paper. So I probably should have maybe cut out a little bit more, but I just wanted to leave that for you to see it, because I was actually kind of surprised, like how much different I thought it looked. And then when you're all done, then you can go around the edges with your black marker so that you don't see the white paper on the edges of your buildings. And being that we're going to put it on tea-dyed paper, I think that that's probably going to show up, the white edges. It's surprising how when you cut something out of white paper and then you put it on something, how you can actually see that white edge, even though, you're not seeing part of the paper here on the top. It's literally the skinniest edge of that paper. You can see it. So just that little bit of extra of drawing around it really makes a difference. So there we go. And there we go. I think that our little town turned out really cute. And one other thing I'm going to tell you, I am going to take this and I'm going to copy it so that if I lose it, because this is my whole, this is the whole map for me. If I lose this, I was just thinking a few minutes ago, it's like, what did I do with that? So I'm going to take a copy of it and put it in my box here. And so then I'll have 2 copies. So I don't, if I lose it, I'll have another one. So we're just going to see how this looks on our map. I am going to, I don't know, let's see if we put it on here, if you can kind of see it. Okay. So here is the first part of our map. And our town is going to go right there. So there we go. And I guess you don't really see the whites of the edge of the paper on there too much. So it's up to you if you want to. And if you're going to draw around it, you don't do it on your map. You just put it on a piece of scrap paper. And like right here, I can see a little bit of white because it didn't come off when I cut it. So just keep it like, you don't even go on your paper. You just go right on the edge of it and draw around, and it gets rid of those white edges. But you be careful so you don't mess it up. And I've already done that part over there. So let's go across the bottom. I haven't done the bottom yet. And I do want to do the bottom. So I'm just going to try and go slow because I want a black line across the bottom to just kind of tie it all together. There we go. See, you don't really see it a lot, but it just makes it stand out. So there we go. And then that is going to go right in here. I think this is as far as we're going to go today. I'm not going to glue it in because I think I do want to try and do a background technique behind here. We do need like a banner for the stores so that we know what they are. And so I think that we'll do those parts next week, maybe at our gas station over here, if we're going to do that. So maybe we will, maybe we won't. We'll see. But I just think that the town turned out really cute. So thank you very much for stopping by. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you're going to enjoy this project. Thanks again, and I hope that you all have an outstanding day. Bye-bye.